Well, the winning streak was snapped as the Oil try to begin a new one tonight against the Florida Panthers. We get you set for Edmonton and Florida on the Oil Stream pregame show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the pregame show on EST. Tom Gazzola, YouTube Trev with you. Matt Kassian, our game analyst, will be around in a little bit to get us set for tonight's tilt down at Rogers Place as the Oil close out a 6-game homestand. And they've been pretty good on it, 4-1 so far. Yes, indeed, they lost the other night to the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they will look to atone against the Florida Panthers team that is off to a pretty good start this season. I mean, they're already 30 games into the year down in Florida, so 17, 10-2 are the Panthers rolling into this one. The Oilers 13-1. Florida has not scored a goal in a couple of games, a pair of 4-0 losses. The last one coming in Vancouver on Thursday, and the one before that in Seattle against the Kraken. So the Panthers looking to just get on the board. They might tonight. We'll see what happens, but the Oilers will try to stop them at all costs, make it 3 straight losses, and who knows, maybe even a third straight clean sheet. Text us, 780-218-9999 if you're listening on your way to the game and you're listening via either the audio stream on our website. Appreciate you. If you're listening on the TuneIn app, excellent stuff. And, of course, if you're watching on the EST YouTube channel, hit that thumbs up button. Let's smash that bad boy tonight. And be sure to get in on the nasty chat. It was funny yesterday. We had our EST Christmas party, the first one ever. I had a great time, absolutely tremendous time last night. Everyone's recovering today. I feel great. I'm refreshed. I'm ready to go. YouTube Trev, I feel like, is okay. These are our second shows of the day. We have another one coming up, obviously, after this game on the post-game show. But YouTube Trev, how you holding up, pal?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good, Tommy. It was a nice little afternoon to relax. Got the whole crib to myself, or the studio. So yeah, it was good. Man, what an unreal night we had last night, Tommy. I can't get over that. I'll remember that for the rest of my life. Just
really
great. Yeah, 100%. It was good. It was definitely worth it. Everything, I'm feeling I'm definitely feeling way better now than how I was earlier. And yeah, you're looking great from the get-go this morning. Hey, like you weren't feeling too bad, eh?
I wasn't feeling 100%. I'll definitely say that.
Yeah,
But,
no, that's
yeah.
fair.
No, we had a good night and actually a really good day after our slate of shows yesterday. And the boys showed up yesterday for the Christmas party, and it was a great time. So everyone's ready to rock for this one. We're going into what's going to be a weird week, I think. The Oilers have 3 games before the Christmas break. They're going to be out of town. Dusty's going to be on his way to Davos to call the Spengler Cup again for TSN. And I'll be in on the morning show. You've been in on the morning show. Maddie will be back on the morning show. And Eric's going to take off a little bit early before the weekend as well. So we've got a lot going on in what should be, I think it's going to be a lazy week for most people. You know what I mean? Like, it's Christmas and, priorities at work and productivity at work probably dwindles a little bit. Kind of got that sense the last couple of days because we're definitely in the holiday season. So it's going to be a neat week on EST, and we have plenty of great content for you. And Sean Bell and I and YouTube Trev will be back next Saturday as well, just like we were today for Hello Hockey. We're going to be on location, Trev. We're going to be on location for Hello Hockey next Saturday.
That's going to be great.
We're doing our first on location episode at local public eatery, Jasper Avenue. So if you want to stop by, say hi to us there, we would appreciate it. We'll be there at 10 a.m. and they have great, brunch and breakfast items and deals and specials. And so we'll look forward to seeing some people down there as we kick that off again. We did it last year and we'll be doing it again this year with our good friends and partners over at local public eatery. A big shout out to Dean Lowry, my good friend, and it'll be really exciting. So we do have another great week of content. It's just going to be a little bit different. And, of course, the pre- and post-game show will be there. All 3 games as the Oilers head off to the New York City area. A couple texts already coming in via the nasty chat. You guys are nasty. I love it. Penner's Pancakes says new streak begins tonight. Yes, sir. Penner's Pancakes. Those A&W burgers were clutch. Thank you for stopping by and bringing those yesterday. Great chatting with you in our studios. Did you have one, Trev?
I had two.
Attaboy.
Yeah, a huge shout out to Penner's Pancakes. That definitely helped me out this morning. I had two of those, and then I finished off the chicken tenders or the chicken strips.
So good.
And there was a lot of fries left, so I definitely dove into those as well. So, yeah, thank you for that. That was just a blessing.
Dr. Gonzo says, Saturday Night Fever, who's bringing the 6 o'clock or lager? We'll go pick some up. Hopefully there's a little bit left out there. I'm not sure where the supply is at in terms of what's available, but I do know December 22nd, they ship out the second batch of 6 o'clock or lager. Check out Sobeys and Safeway's liquor stores in and around the city, around the province, really. And you could always hit up Old Redbeard on Twitter, Scott Laurie, who is co-host of Sobeys and Safeway Liquor Beer of the Week every Friday with the boys. And Scott's been on top of it. He's been literally driving out flats of 6 o'clock or lager to different locations. And if people want to know if there's any available close to them, hit up Scott Redbeard. I think he's Old Redbeard or Redbeard91 on Twitter. And then Dr. Gonzo says, cake stands in Tommy's jacuzzi. Ooh, I'm not bringing the cake. Get a Wannick too up on the amenities floor, and we'll see how that goes. Another text comes in from one, says, Snazzy Gazzy, whose gloves are behind you and whose gloves do you want from the current team? Those are Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' old gloves from his first or second year, and I don't know. I don't know how I ended up with them. I think the trainers just gave them to me, so I don't really care. I wouldn't want any. I don't really collect stuff, but you pick some stuff up along the way, and happen to get Nuge's gloves, and that's what is behind me if you're watching on the EST YouTube channel. 780-218-9999, and the nasty chat. Keep it going. Hit that thumbs up button. Coach Mike is in. Coach Mike text, start another 8-game heater. Let's go. Coach Mike, thanks for hanging around and joining us on the pregame show. Let's get you set now with some starting lineups, and then I'll get to the question of the night as the Oilers take on the Panthers. For the Oilers, we're anticipating McDavid with Nugent-Hopkins and Hyman, Draisaitl with Foegele and Janmark. I actually thought that Foegele and Janmark were buzzing really well with Draisaitl the other day against the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're moving the puck well. They had some great offensive zone shifts, and I think defensively they were pretty solid. And so that means we'll probably see McLeod with Kane and Brown again. It would be good to see Kane get going. I know he's a little bit banged up, and Connor Brown 1 point through 21 games. No bueno. At some point, it's going to have to turn for him. And he's probably gripping that stick a little bit tight. But good veteran player, and hopefully the offense gets going for him, because I know a lot of people would be relieved to see the puck start to go in when he's on the ice in the opposition net, of course. Fourth line, Hamblin with Gagne and Ryan. On defense for the Oil, Nurse with CC, Ekholm with Bouchard, Kulak with Desharnais, Dylan Holloway still out, lower body, Adam Ernie probably out, Ben Gleason, don't expect him in the lineup tonight. If anything changes, we will pass that along to you as the teams hit the ice for warm-up. As for the Florida Panthers, this is what we're anticipating from them. They've had to deal with a little bit of illness and some injury of late. So Alexander Barkov, who did not play in that game back in mid to late November down in Florida, he is good to go. Obviously, he's back in action. He'll be centering Evan Rodriguez and Sam Reinhart. Sam Bennett centering Carter Verhaeghe and Matthew Tkachuk. Then you've got Kevin Stenlund, who scored in that game November 20th in Florida against the Oilers, between Eetu Luostarinen and Nick Cousins. Did you see Nick Cousins in Columbus last week? My goodness, or earlier this week, I should say. Fourth line, we'll see Steven Lorentz between Ryan Lomberg and Will Lockwood. On defense for the Panthers, Gustav Forsling with Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Nico Mikkola with Brandon Montour, Josh Mahura with Dmitry Kulikov, and Hersey, if you're listening, because I know you are a big EST listener. Hope you're on your way to the game to watch your brother play. He is back in action and has had to bide his time. He was down and out for a little bit nicked up, but Aaron Ekblad is day-to-day. So Mahura gets back in. Ekblad dealing with a lower body issue, suffered it in Vancouver. Third period, he didn't play in Van in that 4-0 Panthers loss to the Canucks. Anton Lundell day-to-day with an illness, and Jonah Gadjevich also day-to-day with an illness. So there you go, the illness. The bug kind of getting to the Florida Panthers right now. it is that time of year. And so no Ekblad for the Panthers tonight. He is a potential go as the Panthers close out their 5-game road trip in Calgary in a couple of nights. All right, let's get to probably the big story of the day. Starting goalies, 31-year-old Calvin Pickard getting the nod for Edmonton. He's 1-1 this season, 224 goals against average, 917 save percentage in 3 games this season. Pickard, lifetime against the Panthers, 2-3 record, 376 goals against average, 877 save percentage in 5 games against Florida. Over the course of his career with the smattering of teams, Pickard did play in that game a few weeks ago down in Florida. He made 28 saves on 32 shots in a loss to the Panthers, and that was right before the Oilers kicked off that 8-game winning streak. The very next game, I believe it was in Washington. And then at the other end of the rink, we're going to see 35-year-old Sergei Bobrovsky. He's on the case, 13-8-1 with a 256 GAA, 906 save percentage, 2 shutouts this season in 22 games for the Russian netminder Bobrovsky against the Oilers. He's got a 10-6 record, 282 goals against average, 899 save percentage, and 1 shutout in 16 appearances against Edmonton over the course of his career. So there are your starting lineups and your starting netminders. Calvin Pickard for the Oilers, Sergei Bobrovsky for the Florida Panthers, and that leads us to the question of the night. I want to hear from you via the nasty chat and via the text line 780-218-9999. Question of the night is this: do you like the idea of Calvin Pickard getting the starting goal tonight, or do you think it should have been Stuart Skinner again? Now, let us know your thoughts. I was eating it from all of our viewers and listeners Thursday night after the loss to Tampa, defending Stuart Skinner for putting together a nice stretch of games where he had won 10 of his last 13 starts, 7 in a row. Yes, he had a bad third period, and yes, he let in a couple of bad goals. And yes, he did blame himself, and I acknowledge that, but I defended Skinner. I thought after listening to Chris Knobloch talk about Stuart Skinner and if there was any fatigue, and he didn't think there was, I thought that we would see Stuart Skinner again tonight. No qualms whatsoever from my point of view starting Calvin Pickard. I thought he was brilliant against the New Jersey Devils, and if he's feeling good and in a groove, and that keeps the Jack Campbell situation at bay, leave Jack Campbell down in Bakersfield, Pickard's giving you quality starts and a chance to win in the games that he is playing. That's all you're asking for. So I'm cool with this idea of Calvin Pickard going again, especially if he plays the way he did against the New Jersey Devils. Let's go to YouTube. Trev, question of the night: do you like the idea of Calvin Pickard getting the starting goal tonight, or do you think it should have been Stuart Skinner again? Trev, what do you say?
Yeah, no, I'm with you as well. I think he deserves a start. His last start, he was pretty solid. Stuart Skinner, he was, he didn't play that great, right? He was the first to say it in the post game.
He made some good saves in the second period. He really did.
He did. There was one huge save. I was like, hey, they might have to thank him for that one later. But Stuart Skinner, he needs a break. Calvin Pickard, I thought he's looked decent in his showings that he's been for the Oilers. So I'm totally for this. It's against Florida Panthers. He hasn't faced them this year. I'm all for this. I don't see a problem at all.
No issues whatsoever. All right. Loomis via the nasty chat says, so does Carolina make a bigger impact move for a goalie before Edmonton does? Loomis, today on the smash hit Hello Hockey, we had David Pagnotta on, and basically I asked him about Calvin Pickard, even though it's not an Oilers show, or not a Calvin Pickard. I asked him about Jack Campbell, and he said that the Oilers are willing to move Jack Campbell if a team wants to take him and his contract. But at this point, Edmonton is not willing to move a first rounder or a pair of firsts or a first and a second or a first and a high-end prospect just to get rid of that contract just yet. Pagnotta also thinks that there's a good chance Campbell is moved prior to the start of next season. Because he says there are some teams that are open to the idea of taking on that contract. All right. Let's go to T. Willison. Says, greetings from Southern Illinois. Looking forward to watching Skinner redeem himself tonight. T. Willison, we are going to see Calvin Pickard in goal for the Edmonton Oilers. And then he follows up with, I'd say Pickard definitely earned a few more starts with that win. And T. Wilson did not see that Pickard was starting. All right, 780-218-9999. Get those texts into us or via the nasty chat in regard to the question of the night. One more time. Do you like the idea of Calvin Pickard getting the starting goal, or do you think it should have been Stuart Skinner? Loomis says he listened to the earlier show. Appreciate that very much, Loomis. And I did see this text from Displaced Yukoner, who just rediscovered EST. Great to have you back, Displaced Yukoner. Says, a pair of Nuge worn gloves would make a nice Christmas present to a listener, Tom. Hint, hint. Yes, I get your hint, but I am not really in the mood to move on from them. And they are brand new. They have never been used. That is that. All right, nasty chat. Do your thing. Smash that thumbs up button. Do you like the idea of Pickard getting the start in goal for the Oilers tonight? Yes, no? Or do you think it should have been Skinner? Let me know. I will read those out as we roll along here on the Oil Stream pregame show. One of 13 games on the SCAD, so another busy Saturday in and around the National Hockey League. Let's get you up to date on what has happened so far and continues to transpire in the NHL. Earlier today, Minnesota beats the Vancouver Canucks 2-1 at home in a shootout. Right now, you've got Boston leading the Rangers 1-0 late in the second period. 3 minutes left to play at TD Garden. Columbus trails New Jersey 4-2 after 2. After 2 in Montreal, the Islanders way behind the Canadiens 4-0. 2 periods in the books in Philly. The Flyers are up 1-0 over the Red Wings. How about this one? We had Josh Getzoff, play-by-play voice of the Pittsburgh Penguins on Hello Hockey earlier today, and we were talking about the Penguins trying to end their dad's trip, a perfect 3-0. Not looking good right now. The Leafs up 6-0 on the Pittsburgh Penguins and their dads. That's a buzzkill for sure on that trip, but so far so good. Unless there could be a crazy comeback like we saw the Leafs pull off against the Blue Jackets. They still ended up losing that game in, what was it, shootout or OT, and they were down 5-1 in the third period and mounted the comeback against a hapless Columbus Blue Jacket squad that is now without Patrick Laine. I think he broke his clavicle, if I remember correctly, and is going to be out for a while. We all remember broken clavicle and how long that can take to heal. And Patrick Laine is on the shelf with that injury as the Jackets continue to struggle this season. All right, we've got Winnipeg up 3-0 on Colorado in Winnipeg after 2. Nashville leads Washington 1-0 after 1 in Nash Vegas, a.k.a. Smashville, a.k.a. a fun place to go and visit. Dallas leads St. Louis 2-1 in St. Louis after 1. Arizona, Buffalo about to get underway in AZ at Old Moulay Arena. And then you'll see Calgary welcome Tampa Bay to town. And then the Oilers get the Panthers, obviously, while Seattle welcomes the LA Kings. So there you go. That's what's happened so far in the National Hockey League. We'll probably go around the league one more time later on in the show after Game Changers with Matty Kassian. Anything surprise you there, Trev, in terms of results today? Because it's kind of, yeah.
For Winnipeg, yeah, that's a little surprising. Just being out with Kyle Connor for the next, 2 months now, 8 weeks, they just said. Yeah. So that's a huge loss. So I'm pretty surprised by that. But I was watching the Pittsburgh-Toronto game as well. And, yeah, Pittsburgh just is not looking good at all. I don't know if Toronto's just bringing it tonight. But, yeah, it was Matthew Nye scored an absolute beautiful goal. Willie Nylander's just buzzing out there. The Leafs are looking really good right now. So, yeah.
Well, Nylander, it's funny what a contract year will do for a guy with a lot of skill, isn't it?
Sorry, what was that?
It's funny what a contract year will do for a guy with a ton of skill.
Yeah, absolutely. Nylander. Yeah, no, 100%. He's bringing it this year.
Yes, he is. Absolutely, he is. All right, question of the night. One more time. Are you cool with Pickard getting the start in goal, or do you think it should have been Stuart Skinner? Let's see what's going on in the nasty chat. This one says, good for Pickard to get rewarded with another start. He earned it. Canadian Minion says, yep, I'm good with it. Hey, that was from Frank. All right, Frank.
Yeah, he chimed in. He's laughing right now.
Yeah, all right, Frank. Good to get you into the nasty chat. Barbershop Window says, after last game, Skinner shouldn't play until after Christmas. They'd have a back-to-back coming up this week. Penner's Pancake says, Nashville winning too much lately. Loomis says, I didn't take you for a pop, a.k.a. soda person, Tommy. No, I'm not usually one for pop, but I have Dr. Pepper in. It was a little slow going earlier today. Let's just put it that way. And sometimes it's good to get a burst of sugar. But generally, no. There's one more I saw in here from Jason and Leduc that I wanted to get to. Jason and Leduc, hello. Says Panthers have only scored 85 goals so far, sixth worst. Pickard is the play, but only because Skinner had such a hard fall off the cliff in the third period the other night against the Tampa Bay Lightning. All right, let's go into the Oilers locker room. And first up is going to be Coach Chris Knoblauch. Let's go to him now.
We see that Calvin Pickard appears to be starters, and that looks like he's going to be your guy. Just thought and rationale and giving Calvin the start today.
I think he's earned it. I think he's been playing really well, having a little bit of a rotation. And you think about goaltenders' workloads, but ultimately the biggest reason why he's starting is he's done a really good job since he's been here.
When you're making decisions on goalies, I imagine it's how the guys are playing in the moment, but you also kind of have a responsibility to look ahead a little bit. How would you sort of weigh that out, like the schedule coming up versus maybe who's ready right in the moment?
This decision obviously with Pick playing really well and deserving this start, but also thinking about next week. And you've got 3 games in 4 days, and our starter's going to have 2 of those. So we're also thinking about the next week on what puts our goalies in the best situation for the next week. So I think it was, the one looking at next week's schedule and also Pick deserving this game.
The homestand has gone well, and I know you want to finish it off properly here, but what have you most liked that your team has displayed in this stretch of games on home?
Consistency, just playing well all situations. The penalty kill's been dialed in, doing really well. The power play's obviously been scoring. The 5-on-5 defense has been good. We've had all 4 lines pretty much going every night. Everyone chipping in defensively. Our 3 pairs of defensemen. I don't think there's some things that have been exceptional. I think are the special teams, but I think everyone else is doing their job. And when that's being done, especially with 5-on-5 play, it just makes the team play so much better to watch, and the results are definitely there.
I just wanted a thought on your fourth line. They drew a couple of penalties the other day, and it just looks like there was a phrase that a former coach used to use about playing inside someone's equipment. And they're not a big line, but they seem to do that. They seem to kind of are tenacious around the puck with Sam and James and Derek Ryan. Can you just maybe give me a thought on their play and how much confidence you're getting in throwing them out there and knowing that they're going to do good things?
Yeah, I see 3 guys that are maybe a little undersized, but they make up with it for how smart they are and how hard they're working. And their play lately has been really helping our team. And whether they're drawing penalties or just spending time in the offensive zone, scoring a couple big goals in the previous couple games, they've been helping with our team's success. And checking the puck, you can push guys off the puck, and they're probably not going to push many guys off the pucks, but if they can check and get inside guys' hands and, put their body into guys' hands, the other guys, they can't make plays. They can't do anything. So I think they've been doing a good job at doing that.
All 3 of those guys, like you said, are really smart hockey guys. They know the game really well. Like, how does that complement them, the fact that they all kind of think alike?
Size is important. Size and speed is important, but I think the biggest attribute is hockey sense and how smart you are. And I think that's something that gets neglected too often when you're thinking about, oh, he can't skate, he's a little bit slow, or he's not big enough to compete or do things. Well, they're smart enough, and I think that is the biggest attribute a player can have. And those three guys, they have that.
Just wanted to check in on Dylan Holloway, what his timeline looks like, when he might be available, going on the trip, that kind of thing.
He's been on the ice probably 5 times now, just light skates by himself. He hasn't been with the team yet. When we go to New York for our trip out there, he'll be on the ice a little bit more, maybe with the team, maybe not, just continuing speeding up his skates a little bit harder, a little more intense. And then after Christmas, probably getting into some structured practices with the team. So he's not going to return before Christmas, and then after Christmas we'll evaluate when he'll be ready.
Chris, I know you say you haven't made significant changes in terms of the structure and process of the team's game, but Holloway missing that time, not practicing. Evander has missed a lot of practices as he's trying to play his way through something. Does that become a challenge in terms of the guys conceptually understanding sort of some of the changes that have been made in terms of how you're playing defense, or maybe how you're, transitioning and that sort of thing?
You ask any coach, and practice time is important, it's valuable, and trying to get the most out of the players. And one way to do that is on the ice. In the NHL, that is a huge challenge because you have to limit how many reps, how intense practices are, because you are always saving up for the next game because you're playing almost every second day. So those practices are a lot shorter, a lot more defined. Coaches have to rely on using video a lot more to teach rather than doing it on the ice. And it is unfortunate those guys haven't been out on the ice, but we've been relying more on the video teaching with those guys. And as we move forward, we'll be getting those guys back on the ice and having some more practice time.
Don't think Barkov played the last time you played Florida. Just a thought on, he's one of the best two-way centermen in the league, matching up against the Panthers tonight.
Yeah, no, a lot of respect for him. Obviously, can score goals, contribute offensively with no issues there. Makes it tough for other teams playing against him. He's a good defensive forward and maybe the best with Bergeron retiring now. Maybe he takes over that title, which makes it a lot more difficult. He plays a lot of key minutes. You know, you're looking at 20, 23 minutes a night, and most of against other teams' top lines. And whether we try and match and get our top players away from him, or we just go head to head, we'll let that play out. But obviously, with him back in the lineup, makes it a lot more difficult for our team.
All right, there's Chris Knobloch, Oilers head coach, talking about why Calvin Pickard's getting the nod. You look at the schedule, it's the Islanders on Tuesday, and then the Oilers get their first set of back-to-back games Thursday and Friday, and they're in New Jersey first, and then they get the Rangers on the Friday, and then it's the Christmas break. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days completely off, or between games. They'll practice after, probably on Boxing Day. And then they'll likely fly out. They might even fly out on the 27th because they hit the road to California. They go to San Jose, LA, and Anaheim to close out the month of December. So with that being said, Pickard, who was really good on Sunday in that 4-1 win over the Devils, would, if it lines up this way, get his next start on Thursday against the Devils once again. And the rationale there being he played so well against them the other night, making 26 saves, that you hope that after tonight, if it goes well for him, you have the confidence in him playing well. And then, the recent memory of how well he played against the Devils, and you try to get into that kind of groove again. And then you give Skinner the Islanders and the Rangers. So, and you heard Chris Knobloch there say that their starter is Stuart Skinner. To those that I saw it on the Nasty Chat after the game the other night, said, let Pickard play a bunch of the games. He's your guy going forward. The coach a little bit contrarian to that notion. Also, we got a Dylan Holloway update there from Chris Knobloch. He has started skating on his own, light skating. Will go with the team on the road. That's good. And then they'll reassess him after that trip to New York or the New York area, and then probably give him a couple more weeks before he is ready to go. Lower body issue, of course, for Holloway. Suffered it against the Islanders at home in a game where he was playing well, following the game against Seattle, where he probably was the best player on the ice that night against the Kraken. So we shall see how Holloway progresses. I'm going to read this one from Naughty Possum. Says, I'm excited for Pickard. Hope he does well. Also, to Saturday night's game at Rogers should be a sold-out arena. No pressure. Speaking of Calvin Pickard, you want to go to him, YouTube, Trev? May as well go to Calvin Pickard.
Yeah, let's go to Calvin.
All right.
And a good one. Is there some sort of importance in just trying to finish it off positively and get back into kind of a winning column?
Yeah, well, you don't want to lose 2 in a row, obviously, especially at home. And, like you said, it's been a long homestand, done a lot of good things, and you want to finish off on a high note.
Florida's one of those teams that can challenge you a bit, right? They bring a lot out in teams physically and such. Can that be good for a group to play against a team like that?
Absolutely, yeah. I thought our game in Florida, had a lot of emotion, and it was a high-intensity game. I would expect the same tonight, and I think that's a good thing for both teams.
You guys had a lot of shot volume in that last game. Did you like the quality of the shots?
I did, yeah. I did. I thought we had lots of good chances, and he's a great goaltender. There's no secret about that, and he played well.
Can you kind of keep that up? I guess is that something that you like in your game right now? Can you keep up that?
Creating chances?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's the focus: creating chances and scoring goals, and that's a big part of the game. So I think we've done a good job of that during this homestand, and something that we need to keep up. All while playing strong defensively.
Evan Bouchard's on a bit of a streak here. Just maybe give us a thought on his play and how he's kind of evolved throughout the year.
Yeah, I think you just see his confidence growing and growing. He's not a young kid anymore. He's he's been around a long time, or not a long time, but he's been around for a while now, and I think his confidence is high. I think the game's starting to slow down for him a little bit. I think you can see that at both ends. He's been solid defensively as well. So offensively, his game speaks for itself, but defensively, I think he's been real solid as well.
Okay, Trev.
Man, Pickard looks a little different, hey? What's up with that? Okay. I'm so sorry about that, guys. In my defense on the screen where I have to select the clips, it's super tiny, so I just glanced at it quick. I'm like, no, this is Pickard, so my apologies. I really do apologize about that. That's on me, but it made for a good laugh, so I hope you enjoyed that, guys.
All good, pal. That was Connor McDavid talking about getting set for tonight's game. Let's go to Calvin Pickard this time.
Need to grab another start here, and teams trying to get things back on track, and you can be a big part of that.
For sure, yeah. Excited for the opportunity. I thought we played a great game against Tampa. Their goalie played really well. We're in control for most of it, but I think we need to just play the same way, and we'll be right back on track.
You see the way this team has been playing lately and the way they've been defending. What's your mindset as the goalie, just kind of trying to do your part when you know the group is probably going to do theirs?
Yeah, for sure. I've been here for a month and a half, and I've been here for a lot of good. And, we've been stifling defensively, and, I just want to go in there and, like you said, do my part and take care of what I can control, and the rest will take care of itself.
What's this been like? I mean, when you came up, I'm assuming you probably knew Skinner was, the guy, and he'd be playing a lot. So how have you sort of handled that, just all the practicing and maybe not knowing exactly how often you were going to play?
Yeah, I've been in this situation before. Obviously, you want to be sharp in practice for when you're called upon. I feel like I've been doing that. It was nice to get that confidence from the Jersey game going into tonight, and looking forward to trying to replicate that performance.
All right, there's Calvin Pickard as he gets another start, taking on the Florida Panthers, coming off a really good performance on Sunday against New Jersey, where he made 26 saves in his first win as a member of the Oilers. He did play in that game November 20th in Florida, a loss where he allowed 4 goals on 32 shots, looking to get a little bit of redemption, and we'll probably see Calvin Pickard again later on in a few days against the New Jersey Devils, if that is indeed the rotation that Chris Knobloch kind of hinted at and discussed a couple of minutes ago, where we heard from him talking about his goalies and the strategy in the starts there. The question of the night also in relation to Calvin Pickard getting the nod in goal. Do you like the idea of Calvin Pickard getting the start tonight, or do you think it should have been Stuart Skinner? To those that weren't tuned in a little bit earlier, let us know your thoughts via the nasty chat if you're watching on our EST YouTube channel, or if you're listening on TuneIn or just the audio stream via the Edmonton Sports Talk website. Hit us up at the inbox 780-218-9999. We're going to go into the Oilers locker room one more time. Let's hear from defenseman Darnell Nurse.
You banked a lot of points and had a disappointing result the other day. It seems like the mindset is still pretty strong and confident in this group coming off that loss.
Well, I would hope the way we've played, if that we're not at the point where we lose one and lose all confidence in ourselves. I think our group started to show what we're capable of, and we weren't going to win the rest of the games the rest of the year. When we started that win streak, that's always the goal. But for us, it's even more important tonight to respond.
What do you see from the back end? I mean, you guys set a team record in shots the other day, but you've had a lot of games with a lot of pressure and a lot of shots. What are you seeing from your spot that's creating that pressure for the team?
Yeah, I think our forecheck's been really, really good. Also our track, tracking guys down in the neutral zone and getting back to our own zone, creating offense from there. Anytime you're able to stymie other teams' offenses and play a stingy defensive game, it allows you to open up on the offensive side. So we got to continue to do that.
Florida's a team that can, they can challenge you physically a little bit. You guys had a real good physical game against them. Is that, a good challenge for your group to just take on a team like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's teams that come in and they play physical, try to push you around a little bit, and I like our team in here, not afraid to get into a physical battle. So I think we're looking forward to the challenge. Obviously, they're a good team coming in here, but at the end of the day, we're just worried about our game and getting it back on track. I think we've been playing some good hockey. Didn't get the result we wanted the other night, so it's of the utmost importance that we get that result tonight.
When you see a defensive teammate like Evan on a big long point streak here, is part of you want to help him keep it going?
Oh yeah, you want that thing to go on as long as possible. You want him to beat Koff's records, right? That's the goal. It's been so much fun to obviously see him produce at the rate that he's producing at, and the element of that big booming shot on the top of our power play he's been great. So it's been fun to watch, and hopefully he keep it going.
What is it about his offense, like how he sees the ice? What is it about? He just seems to see the ice offensively now.
Yeah, I mean he's calm out there, right? So he's got the ability to just look up. He's never seems to be under stress, and just makes solid play after solid play. I think, and anytime that you stack those on top of each other, it's what happens, and how he's producing at the rate he's producing at. He's just making good play after good play, and then every once in a while he hits that home run. So he's been great for us.
Is Calvin a guy that you want to? I mean, not that you're not trying to play great every game, but when he's in there, is he one of those goalies that you want to buckle down for? You want to play well for?
We got two of those goalies. I think it just speaks to the character of Hicks and Stu. Like they're two guys that every time that you go out there on the ice and play, you want to be good for them, because you know the effort that they're going to put in behind you and how great of teammates they are. They're going to do the same for you.
There you go. There's Darnell Nurse, like that, as Evan Bouchard continues his hot streak, and the point streak continued for him against Tampa as he pursues Paul Coffey's record 28-game point streak. Pretty impressive what Paul Coffey did, obviously, back then, and then right now what Evan Bouchard is doing on his current streak that continues to make hay, and I like his chances of keeping it going for sure. Tonight, one more time around the league, we're going to go get you updated also throughout the question of the night. How you feel about Pickard getting the start tonight? Do you think it should have been Skinner? Let us know via the nasty chat or text us 780-218-9999. 13 games on the scad. We had Minnesota beat Vancouver 2-1 at XL Energy Center. That one happening in a shootout, early afternoon game. Boston leads New York 1-0 after 2. The Devils have extended their lead in Columbus to 5-2. 13 minutes left to play in the third period there. The Islanders are on the board in Montreal. They trail 4-1 to the Habs with 17 minutes left to go in the third. Flyers still up 1-0 on the Red Wings. 13 minutes left in the third there. And Pittsburgh trails Toronto 6-0 after 2. We did have a text that came in regard to that from Brent. Brent said, the way things are going lately for Pittsburgh, I wonder when they become sellers. And it's interesting, and I bring that up, and I'm glad you texted in, Brent, because we had Josh Getzoff on earlier on Hello Hockey. And Josh was saying that it's taken the team some time to adjust to all the new pieces, not just on the ice, but the front office, with Kyle Dubas coming in and amalgamating with like all the guys that have been there forever, Crosby, Malkin, Letang, Mike Sullivan. And there's been a process there, but Josh said that he felt like the Penguins are starting to turn it around a little bit, and things are tight enough in their division that they think that they can make a run. And so I don't know if they're necessarily, if that's what Josh is saying, and again, he works for the team, he does play-by-play, he's got a good sense. Obviously, you're going to get a positive opinion from a guy who works for the team. However, Josh is a pretty realistic guy. I would trust him in the Penguins thinking that they're, a nice stretch of 10 games away from making some hay in the Eastern Conference and being right there. So maybe they're going to hold off on selling. And I know that they've added so many pieces that the plan wouldn't be to sell. But good question. Appreciate that very much, Brent. And kind of works nicely with Josh Getzoff being on from the Penguins play-by-play crew earlier today on Hello Hockey. Let's go to the rest of the games before we get to Matt Kassian. For game changers, Winnipeg leading Colorado 3-1. So the Avs are on the board there. 17 minutes left in the third. You've got Washington tying things up in Nashville. 1-1, 5 minutes into the second period. 2-2 in St. Louis, Stars and Blues. 15 minutes left in the second there. And then no score at Mule Arena in Tempe, Arizona, as the Sabres are in town to take on the Coyotes. Tampa Bay visits Calgary. The Panthers are in Edmonton, of course. And then the other game, we'll see the Kraken welcome the LA Kings to Climate Pledge Arena. 780-887-218-9999 is the number to text in. Donnie, I think you were coming at me pretty good the other night on the post-game show. Says, come on, TG. We need to see Pickard now. I believe in him, but I think he needs a shot or what? That's from Donnie M. He's going to get a couple games here, Donnie. Listening to Chris Knobloch, we'll probably see him in New Jersey. Definitely deserves the start. I don't disagree with that. I did think that maybe we would see Skinner, but it doesn't surprise me, and I don't think it's a bad thing that we're seeing Pickard tonight. And I really, really like that game he played against the Devils the other night. He's been solid. He's been pretty solid when he's played this year. Even that game against Florida, there was, I think, the one goal. I can't remember if it was the Stenlin goal I didn't necessarily love, but if I recall correctly, that was a game and that was a goal that Cass was talking about where we saw a couple of TV turns from a defenseman named Evan Bouchard, I believe, on that goal. Bouchard has been lights out on fire ever since, and his defensive game has gotten better, and Pickard has gotten a win, and he's getting the start tonight. And the Oilers have been playing much, much better hockey overall since that loss on the 20th of November in Florida. This text says from Dr. Gonzo, Pickard getting the start versus legit teams is nice to see. Always easy to throw a guy in for a game versus lower competition, but he's being tested for real. I like it. Thank you, Dr. Gonzo. Appreciate that very much as we roll along here. 780-218-9999 if you want to text us. And, of course, get into the nasty chat. Hit that thumbs up button, please. And thank you if you're watching on the EST YouTube channel. All right. It is Tom Gazzola. Let's bring in Matty Kassian. And YouTube Trev is also in tow, holding things down back at Edmonton Sports Talk HQ as we get you set for the Oilers and the Florida Panthers. All right, there he is. There's Matt Kassian rocking the Elks hoodie. Cass, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good. Say, I'm doing this for my dad got to hang out with Hernan the other day. They had some kind of, I don't know if it was a banquet gala, something with
Christmas party.
Excuse me, with the Elks. So he got to hang out with Hernan. Also Texter Yoda, who I actually found out is a guy I played against for many years. Frequently texts in, old goalie. Played against him growing up too, Derek Yeomans, which is good now to put a name to a frequent texter in, which is awesome. So Yeoman, Yos, if you're listening, Yoda, thanks for tuning in. And Chappie was sending me pictures all night. So that's good. So I'm good. We're good, Tom. We're in a good place. Even with a loss, winning streak comes to an end. We're in a good place here.
Derek Yeoman, I know him. Good guy. Works for the Elks. I think they had their Christmas party. I saw some photos from some buddies that work for them that were posted yesterday. So that had to be it. Good. Really good crew over there. Chappie obviously has been a part of the team for a long time. Hernan's been there for a couple of years since leaving us at 1260. And I think Derek came on board a year or two ago. Dealt with him a little bit. And my good buddy Brad Shochu's over there. You got Dan, the equipment manager. You've got Brian Cheeseman, who was with the Oil Kings forever. Yeah, you've got a really, really good set of character people in the front office, and then doing a lot of the day-to-day grind stuff as well with the team in the locker room. And they certainly deserve a little bit of time to unwind and have some fun in the holiday season. All right, Cass, let's get into Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting, RE/MAX Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent, top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among RE/MAX realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven, he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Number one, Cass, as the Oilers get set to close out the season series with the Florida Panthers. Rebound.
Big rebound. The emotional letdown. You play a good game. Stuart Skinner puts the last one on himself. Some people could argue you got goalied against the Tampa Bay Lightning. You totally did play. You still played a good game. You played a good game and you lost. How do you bounce back today emotionally? You've been on a high. You've been on a run. You finally lost the game, and are you able just to kind of view it as a little hiccup, as a regular speed bump, or does it slow you right down? So Tommy, I want to see them come back out tonight and play the same way again. Like it's going to be super, super important here that they're not just content with winning a whole bunch of games in a row and now settling back and sitting back and thinking that it's enough. So now the messaging that we're hearing from the guys and I don't know if you've ran through any of the interviews yet, but the messaging that we're hearing from everybody is that they're still staying focused and wanting to get right back into the win column and just keep things rolling here. So they're saying the right things, but want to see them come out and do it. The start, I think, in this one's going to be huge. Just getting that momentum back, that desperation and that urgency that we have seen so frequently recently, having that just pour right back into your game, not sagging because you dropped a game that maybe you thought you would have liked to have won.
I like their chances of rebounding, Cass. I really do. Like, I feel like they played a really strong game against Tampa. Yes, the couple of goals that Stuart Skinner allowed in the third period or back breakers, they're deflating, all that stuff. But I even like their push when they made it 5-4 on the Nugent Hopkins goal. And that game, we've talked a couple of times earlier in the year where the Oilers got quote unquote goalied by a couple of backups. I think this example that we saw on Thursday was a legit goalied. You got goalied as compared to early in the year where the Oilers were just playing like crap and they happened to get perimeter shots against a couple of backups. I think they got goalied in this one that we just saw.
In this sense. And that's going to happen on occasion, Tommy. And the Tampa Bay Lightning just happen to have, and he hasn't been unbelievable this year coming off of an injury, but they have one of the best goalies in the world. And sometimes those guys are going to have a night. It's just like sometimes Connor's going to have a night. Sometimes Draisaitl's going to have a night. Goalies at that level, like Andrew Vasilevsky, sometimes they have a night.
Yeah. Oh, he had a night, 53 saves. The Oilers setting a record for most shots in a game with 57, beating the previous mark of 56. And you know what, Cass, is funny because they added a couple shots. I think they at the end of the game, it was officially at 55. And even when we were going through the game story and scoring summary on the post-game show, it was still 55. And then by the end of the post-game show, they had added a couple shots to the Oilers. So that was a record-setting night, but it didn't end in a couple of points, which is the most important thing for the Edmonton Oilers. All right, it is Game Changers with Matt Kassian, our game analyst. Number one was rebound, looking to come back strong after that loss to Tampa the other night. Number two, Cass, ready for a push.
Yeah, this is like the reverse rebound. And that's where I think one of the unfortunate things for the Edmonton Oilers is you're going up against a Florida team that just got spanked.
Mm-hmm.
They just got beat badly, got shut out by the Vancouver Canucks, and reading through and listening to the Florida pregame interviews, that was I didn't watch the game, but by all accounts, that was a bad game by the Florida Panthers. So you have to expect that the Florida Panthers are going to be absolutely hungry for this one. This is not going to be a pushover game for the Edmonton Oilers, even if they play well. Even if the Oilers score and are up a couple of goals, and we saw a few weeks ago, the Oilers up a couple early. They take a bad penalty. Evander Kane takes a bad penalty right in front of the benches. Florida scores in the power play, and all of a sudden just jumps right back into that hockey game. And they're going to have that same type of mentality today. They don't like the way they played their last two games. They especially don't like how they lost to the Vancouver Canucks. They haven't scored many goals the last few, so they are going to be a hungry group. The Kitties are going to be meowing for their food, and the Edmonton Oilers. I mean, you got to be ready for it. I mean, this is like it could almost be a rebound game, really. This is if I was breaking down the Florida Panthers, they're going to view this as a rebound game, as an opportunity to bounce back and establish themselves again and get back to the way that they're playing 3 games ago when they were on a little mini heater of their own. So the Florida Panthers are going to come out hungry, Tommy. Like you have to expect you're going to get their absolute best, and you have to expect, which leads us into game changer number 3, that they are going to put every single puck they can at Calvin Pickard. I just like the Captain Picard, so I'm gonna
he's Star Trek,
Picard.
Trekkie.
Yeah. Well, I'm not actually that big of a Trek. I'm more of a Star Wars than Star Trek type of guy, but it's just too easy to jump into that. So it'll be a game, and game changer number 3 is that starting goalie for the Edmonton Oilers in Calvin Pickard, who is going to he's going to have a challenge today. You're going to see a lot of pucks. Now, I think is it I believe, Tommy, if I heard correctly, that your question of the night is, should the Edmonton Oilers have stuck with Stuart Skinner, or should they switch it up? And it looks like they're switching it up.
Yeah.
I lean towards they should have started Stuart Skinner. Let him get back in. Let him redeem himself and go back in another game. He again took the onus on himself, said that that's on me. The guys played well enough to win. I wasn't good enough. I almost like in some of those situations, especially when a goalie has been playing for the most part really, really well, putting him back in. Now, maybe this was the plan all along. We don't know that. Maybe this was the plan all along, was that this is what they're going to do. But a little bit, I would say almost curious, Tommy, a curious decision to start your backup against, again, in a situation where you got a team that I think is going to be really, really hungry, and he's going to have to play like he did the other night, where he against the New Jersey Devils, where he just had a really solid game. You don't want to see it again. He's going to be excited for it, and hopefully the team plays well in front of him. But it's going to be that type of night, Tommy, where you need an extra save or two from a guy, and we're going to see what he's got tonight.
It's Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Cass laid it out there. Number 1, rebound from the game against Tampa. Number 2, ready for a push from the Florida Panthers. And number 3, Pickard. And the question of the night did have to do with Calvin Pickard getting the start. And I'll put it out there to our listeners and viewers again. Do you like the idea of Calvin Pickard getting the nod in goal tonight, or do you think it should have been Stuart Skinner again? I don't mind it. I said it earlier. I don't mind it at all. I think Pickard was great last Sunday against New Jersey. The way Chris Knobloch described it, we heard from Knobloch a little bit earlier on the show. He said that he thinks Pickard deserves the start, played really well. Again, reemphasizing Sunday's game against the Devils. And then it also factors into the first back-to-back later in a few days, where they go New Jersey and then they play the Rangers the next night. So maybe Pickard, I think, is perfect in his career against the Devils, so that has something to do with it. But Cass, we talked about the redemption for Stuart Skinner post-game on Thursday, and people were, you're crazy. You guys, they need to start Pickard. I'm okay with the Pickard start. I want to reemphasize that. But I did think that in listening to Knobloch post-game that, I thought the Skinner could probably be the guy against the Panthers team that has, like you said, Cass, struggled, hasn't scored a goal in 2 games. They lost a couple of games 4-0, one in Seattle, one in Vancouver. Sergei Bobrovsky had a terrible giveaway putting it on the stick of a Canuck player for an empty netter. Like, I do expect these Florida Panthers to bring the house on Calvin Pickard. So it's an interesting situation. And Pickard did play that game against Florida back on November 20th. He did allow 4 goals on 32 shots. So yeah, I don't know, Cass. I'm fine with it. And I think as long as both goalies are giving you starts where they have a chance they put you in a position to win. I also like the idea, Cass. I don't know how you feel about this, of not rushing Jack Campbell back up here for the sake of rushing Jack Campbell back up here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with not rushing him back up here for the sake of rushing him up here. But I don't know. Tommy, I'll be okay with it if they win the game.
Right.
I'll be okay with it. Like it to me, and granted, fans would react regardless. If they lost and there was like a bad goal and it was Stuart Skinner net, they would say, well, you should have started the other goal.
Yeah.
If Pickard is in net and he lets in a bad goal, then the story's going to be, oh, you should have started Stuart Skinner. But
right.
I don't know. I'm a fan of the redemptive, like let a guy work his way back into it. He obviously he feels bad about that last game. He's going to come out with some fire in his gut to redeem himself here. So I don't know. I get it with the schedule. I get that you're trying to work other guys in, but I lean away from. I don't know if I'm okay with it yet. At this point, I mean, ask me after the game, and then I'll tell you if I'm okay with it or not. But yeah, I don't know. It's a curious one for me, Tommy.
This text comes in. I don't see a name. We haven't had a name on this texter's text, but says, as a follow-up from last oil stream, you guys talk about Skinner like he's still 23. He's 25. Yeah, we know he's 25, but as a goalie in the NHL, this is his second full year. He had a surprisingly good first full year where he took the starter's job, or it was kind of awarded to him because of how poorly Jack Campbell was playing. I fully recognize that Stuart Skinner has just turned 25 years old, and it's taken some time for him to get here. And, it took a couple of years to get him NHL starts, and then they would still send him back to the minors. And last year was his first full year, but I think, and we've seen it, he gets to the next level over the course of his career, coming up from junior. He played a little bit in the AHL, was good in the ECHL, then got to the AHL full time, became a really good AHLer, got a look in the NHL, a little bit wonky. Remember, he made that one start against Ottawa where they won 6-5, and they sent him back down to Bakersfield. I know they kept him around for a long portion of that COVID-shortened season with the taxi squad. And then last year, or 2 years ago, he ended up getting called up a whole bunch because Koskinen and Smith were either injured or there was an ailment, and they got Skinner into a bunch of games, and he was playing better and showing some confidence at the NHL level, especially when Smith and Koskinen were struggling, and then they sent him back down. And then last year they give him, the backup job, and next thing you know, 2 months later, he's the starter, and he's giving them quality starts, and he's a Calder finalist, he's an all-star, and now the net's his. So it's that progression, I guess. And I just wanted to make sure that was something that we recognize. And yeah, he's 25. Absolutely. But it's taken a long time and a lot of patience to get him to where he is right now, Cass. And he's not a finished product.
No, he's not. There's still more growth to be had. I mean, it's so funny when people they talk all the time about the Edmonton Oilers and their prospects and how they're a horrible team at developing players and they're a horrible team at developing goalies. Like people complain about that all the time.
Sure.
Yeah. And it's and how they're not patient enough with guys. And finally you're patient with the goalie. You give him that chance to develop. You take your time with him. And then people are like, well, he's old now. And you're like, well, no, he's not. Goalies are generally slower developing. You want to give them their time. And he, I think, fully is and should be the starter. I mean, that's what he is for this group right now. Which again leads me to it's a little bit odd that he's not starting tonight.
780-218-9999. If you got any questions or any comments, you like Calvin Pickard getting the nod in a goal. Canadian Minion says if Stu got lit up tonight, that would be devastating. Robertson says your boy Janmark has looked good, but been kept off the scoreboard since Carolina. You guys think he's going to get something tonight? And Cass, I said this earlier when I was reading out the lineups for the Oilers. I thought Janmark and Fogle were really buzzing with Draisaitl. And, for them, it's a promotion. Obviously, Kane has been nicked up. Brown hasn't done anything. And McLeod has had a rough season, certainly. So are you anticipating that line getting something going? Because I know Fogle and Janmark can move and they make the right plays. And they've got a perennial all-star in Leon Draisaitl playing center for them. But you think they're going to get anything going 5-on-5?
I sure hope so. I agree with you. I think those guys were buzzing. I think they've given the promotion for them. They're trying to make the most of it and make the most of the opportunity. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to fully anticipate them being around the net tonight, and certainly with some of the minutes played, if there's a lot of 5-on-5 minutes, they should have every opportunity to jump onto the scoreboard. To me, it's almost like it's a matter of time. As long as they're playing with Draisaitl, where something's gonna go for them, and the puck will go back in. I mean, it is two guys that play the game hard, that play the game the right way, and have generally been extremely consistent over the course of this year when they've been in the lineup.
As for Kane and Brown, Kane, the injury, I think he's still. I don't know what percentage he's at, Cass, but I'm watching him out there, and is he a dominant force like he might have been in a good stretch of games earlier this season? No. And I think that might have to do with the injury and whatever's plaguing him right now, because he's missed a lot of practices and pregame skates and all that. And then Brown, I am encouraged by what he's doing on the PK. Offensively, had that goal disallowed a couple of games ago, hit a couple of posts. I don't know. I think he has to just chip away at it. But how do you view those two wingers, and how could they potentially help a Ryan McLeod, who had a good game, I thought, or had a couple of good games, and has gone quiet again these last maybe two?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not, I guess, overly surprising. It's not like McLeod. He had a couple games, he gets empty netter, gets a goal the next game. But he's gone quiet for stretches over a period of time. Evil Twin is in on the nasty chat and says Brown scores tonight. I sure hope so. That would be fantastic to see him get off the schneid and actually get in. Now it's probably going to take it off his shin pad, off his stomach, off his back, something like that doesn't get disallowed, but finds a way to go in the net. I mean, I think it's clear that Kane is nicked up, as you said. Missing the skates. It's easy to see that he's not 100%. Still well enough to play, but maybe not quite at the level that he would like to play. Which is just another reason to have the Janmark and Fogle duo up with Leon Draisaitl. So can McLeod get something going with those guys? Well, the potential is there. I mean, it's going to be more challenging than with Leon Draisaitl, just offensively. I mean, McLeod's not one of the best players in the world, but they still have the capacity to chip in and to be involved, and that's what you want to see. I mean, you want to see them involved. Really want to see Brown score. I just get
it done with, right?
Just get it done with. That would be so good. Yeah. It would be so good to see him get one. That would be monumental in a lot of ways for him and maybe for the team too.
Yeah. So, well, he seems to be doing some of the things that can get you offense, but it hasn't clicked, and that's frustrating. Certainly. All right, let's go back to, we got some texts that are rolling in now. 780-218-9999. Cass, I will bounce a few of them off of you. That texter followed up about the Skinner text earlier. It says, I'm not saying he's old. This is from you guys who keep saying, and Dusty said this too, the Oilers are surprised that Skinner is in this position. Well, he's 25. Don't draft him if you didn't believe in him. I think they believed in him. They just were very patient with him. And it was supposed to be Jack Campbell as the starter. That's why they went and got him, gave him 5 years and $5 million per. And there was supposed to be a gradual shift to Skinner. And that got expedited a ton, obviously. Very quickly, that was fast-tracked. So there's going to be some bumps in the road with Stuart Skinner, but I've seen a lot of good, more so than the bad, that's for sure. And yes, he had a rough outing in the third period the other night, and we do recognize that. Let's get to Dirty Curdy here. Dirty Curdy says, goaltending coach may have seen something last game that needed to be worked on. Skinner just doesn't look like his reaction time and post movements are efficient. Pickard's deserves another start sooner than later after his last effort. Dirty Curdy with that one. Thoughts there? Maybe in regard to what Dirty Curdy is saying, maybe he saw something that Dustin Schwartz may have seen something
maybe
Stu Skinner's game.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't a great game from him, right? So, and maybe there's something there where there's some he's a little nicked up, which is possible too. I mean, if he's sore, got something that's bugging him a little bit, that would make more sense to me. And them saying, hey, we can give him another couple days now and give him a little bit more rest if he isn't at 100%.
Yep.
And yeah, maybe they did see something, and maybe they had some conversations where it made more sense. And I hope. Well, I guess I don't hope that he's banged up or nicked up, but I hope that I just hope they're making the right decision with Pickard going in. Is it going to be the goalie coach's call? They're going to inform the decision, but that's still more going to be Knobloch that makes the final call on that one.
Right. Another text comes in. This one from Roland says, with Antti Ranta on waivers, are the Oilers getting another look at Pickard to compare? Man, I don't know if Edmonton would necessarily want to pick up Antti Ranta. Well, he's not making a ton of money.
I was going to say, what's his cap hit? I wasn't sure.
I'm just double checking it here. But do you think that has anything to do with it to compare, like Roland brought up, or they just want to see Calvin Pickard and think he's worth taking a look at again and just playing him?
Yeah, maybe a little bit of both. I mean, Ranta's cap just signed through, looks like this year at AAV of 1.5.
Yeah.
So not overly expensive. I mean, I hadn't really thought of that. That's an interesting thought, Tommy, to say, okay, let's get one more look at him and then make a decision. I mean, that's a curious thought. I don't know. I'm gonna have to chew on that one a little bit, because that actually could make a little bit of sense.
Well, he's got 1.5, right? That's his deal this year. He's a UFA going into next year. He's always hurt though, Cass. Always hurt. Always. He's 34 years old, not getting any younger. He's had good moments. He's a good NHL goalie when he's not hurt. So I'm not sure. Roland, I'm not sure. That's interesting though. I didn't think about that. And I like that you bring that up. Jason, the pharmacist, says, Tommy and Matt, I just don't understand the Skinner haters. I would expect that Oilers fans who are so hockey smart would understand that it takes time to develop. If we want an elite level goalie, we have to trade an elite level player. There is no one better available unless we want to trade a big gun. If we want a Vasilevsky or Hellebuck, we have to trade a Draisaitl. And I don't think Tampa or Winnipeg, especially Winnipeg, after locking up Hellebuck on that big deal, are in any position to even bother moving or consider moving either one of those franchise goaltenders. Jocelyn, who's a huge Canes fan, says Ranta always gets hurt, and Jocelyn keeps tabs on the Canes very thoroughly. Vander Van says Ryan McLeod looks like Bobby Clark, plays like Alexander Semin. Cass?
That's funny.
One more here from Bad Billy. I think that's the name or the handle this texter wants to go by. I agree with Cass with the way Skinner took blame for that game. Put him right back in. See if he mentally prepares himself for a good game. I think that is important. Be nice to see the McLeod line get one or two. They really need it. McLeod needs to go to the net harder. Well, when he scored those goals, Cass, the one was the empty netter, but the other one to start the game, right on the doorstep.
Right on the crease. Yep.
Right on the doorstep for sure. So we'll see if they can get that going. The Oilers and the Panthers go toe-to-toe tonight. Cass, any final thoughts on this one before we get set to say see you later to you?
No, just I mean, it's a win baby win moment. Just get the ball rolling again here. I mean, you'd love to see them. Not that you expect them to go on 8 or 9 game heaters every time they lose a game, but
it would be nice.
It would be nice, and good teams, and the Oilers weren't a good team earlier in the year. They're playing like a good team now. Good teams really do a great job. Like, they don't lose many back-to-back games. The best teams in the league do not lose many back-to-back games. They don't let that steamroll on them. So it's a huge opportunity, a big test, I think, playing against not a pushover team, a very good team in the Florida Panthers that has been struggling as well. That's going to come in here hungry. And you have a huge, I would say, a huge test and a huge opportunity here for the Oilers. So it's going to be an interesting game for me, Tommy. It's I hope going to be a really fun one to watch.
The potential is there, Cass. Both teams have a lot of offensive firepower, and both goalies, who knows what we're going to see. They're capable of good games. We saw a good one from Pickard on Sunday, and Bobrovsky, who started last year terribly, lost the starting job to Spencer Knight, regained it in the playoffs on the run to the Stanley Cup final, and has been pretty good so far this season. Cass, fantastic work as always, my friend. Look forward to catching up with you on the postgame.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Talk then.
Matty Kassian, our game analyst with Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting. Remax Elite, looking to buy or sell a home? Go talk to our good friend Damon Bunting. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit him on his Instagram page at Damon Bunting Real Estate. 780-218-9999 is the number to text us. And if you want, and you're watching on our EST YouTube channel, you can get in on the Nasty Chat. I see some texts from the Nasties. I'll read a couple, and then we're going to go inside the Panthers locker room and hear from head coach Paul Maurice. Lick Fury says, the Oilers really need to separate Brown from Draisaitl. Plays aren't flowing between those two. Yeah, and we won't see them together tonight. As of right now, it's going to be Janmark and Fogle with Draisaitl. And like Cass and I were talking, it seems like those two wingers were buzzing really nicely with Leon Draisaitl. I saw another one from Robertson earlier that said, Tommy for sure wearing jeans with that coat. No, I'm wearing black dress pants, but I don't really wear jeans. I don't wear jeans to games. DD says, Auntie Ranta, yes, please. Hey, Tom, I'm hesitant. I don't know. And like Jocelyn said, who's a Canes fan, Ranta always hurt. Price isn't that steep, but when he's healthy and he plays well, he's a really good goalie. He's 34 years old now and is on an expiring $1.5 million contract, was put on waivers earlier today. Bison Mask Guy saying, Cass a big CFL fan? Yes, Bison Mask Guy. Cass is a big CFL fan. His dad is also the team chaplain of the Edmonton Elks and has been for the past 2 decades. So just a little tidbit there. YouTube Trev,
how we
what
doing,
do you
Tommy?
say we go inside the let's go inside the Panthers locker room and hear from Paul Maurice. What do you think?
Yep, sounds good. Here is head coach Paul Maurice.
I would almost list it as precautionary if we have an expectation then that he would be ready for Calgary, and certainly if not then St. Louis. It's just we want to get on top of it and get rid of it.
And then Lundell and Gadjevich were not out there.
Both illness. Yeah, it's been ripping through our team, but we're getting through it. You can only get it once in a month, I think, so we should be all right.
You get it?
No. I was so happy to see you guys. I was choked up. God, I missed you. No, excuse me, I'm fine.
Josh Maher getting back in then?
Correct.
What are you hoping to get from him in Lockwood? Kind of give a little jolt there.
Well, Lockwood speed for sure, and that's what he's selling it. He's got it. So I want him. The conversation to him is free your mind of mistakes or worrying about that stuff. You're a smart kid. You know the systems. Just go skate as fast as you can, and then we'll see what happens off that. And Maher is a veteran guy. You know, he played every game for us last year, straight through the playoffs. He played well. He got jammed out of the lineup because we got pretty deep there for a little bit, and now he comes back in, and we expect his game to. We had a decision whether we wanted to have him go down and play games in the American League, and then we were just, his practices were so good, and we feel he was driving, so we kept him, so we expect him to be right on tonight.
If the Oilers find a similar game to what they had against Tampa and are bringing it like that, what's the right way for your group to counteract that?
Well, most of it's a bit of composure and then a whole lot of effort. So at the end of the day, they're going to spend a certain amount of time in your end. I think they spend full control 7 minutes, which is a huge number in your end of the ice. So you have to be able to handle that. So that's composure. And then we got a pretty good team here too. So we've got to make hay when the sun shines. We got to control pucks. We got to get into there, and we got to work. We got to work real hard. I liked our game that we played against them at home. We got a little different lineup in here tonight. We know they're good and they're rolling, but we've always found them to be a pretty darn dynamic team. That's never, in some ways, it's the aberration in the game that's harder to game plan for than like the structure. So they're doing both now. It's the freelance is hard. The game itself, the structured game for both teams, you can, if you work hard enough, you can handle it.
When it comes to specifically McDavid and Draisaitl, how do you make those two uncomfortable?
Well, I'm not going to answer that because I don't know if it's ever happened before. I don't know. I was uncomfortable here for a few weeks, but we had nothing to do with that. That was all you guys. I should ask them when I leave. How did you guys do that to them? We're going to play as hard as we possibly can on all players. They are unique, in what they can accomplish on their own. But I don't know that you can ever go into a game to game plan against one or two and have that be different than how you play the game in Europe. For us, our other 80 games, we have some things that we need to do to try to eliminate what highly skilled, highly dynamic players do, and we let her rip. Sergei.
What have you seen from Barkov in terms of him taking on those challenges, right? When you see those high-end offensive guys and he's got that two-way game.
Yeah, he certainly relishes it. As offensively gifted as he is, I still think that he is as a penchant for defense first. He still thinks the game like that, and that's why he's so valuable to us. Big, strong man. Barkov's, the difference for me from last year is he's faster this year. He gets into holes quicker. And part of that is Sam Reinhart's been great for us with him this year, and they both kind of played off each other very, very well. They're an interesting pair, right? Because analytically, they're our best penalty kill pair, and they're also on that number one offensive line. So they're good at both ends, and that's why they're dynamic. Okay, guys.
The always entertaining Paul Maurice, head coach of the Florida Panthers. And on that final note, they're talking about Alexander Barkov and Sam Reinhart. Barkov through 26 games. Remember, he was nicked up earlier in the year, did not play against the Oilers on November 20th. Barkov has put together a good season offensively, 10 goals, 18 assists, 28 points, plus 19. Selke type player, but also has high-end offensive capabilities. And Sam Reinhart is having a fantastic year through 29 games. Reinhart, 17 goals, 20 assists, 37 points, plus 16 on the season. And those two are on a line together. Jameson Olive, who covers the Panthers, tweeting out the lineups for the Panthers at warm-up right now. Barkov between Rodriguez and Reinhart on the top line. Bennett with Verhaeghe and Tkachuk. Stenlund between Luostarinen and Cousins. Lorentz between Lomberg and Lockwood. Then on defense, you've got Forsling with Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Nico Mikkola with Brendan Montour. And then you've got Josh Mahura getting back into action. And Dmitry Kulikov on that final pair for Florida. No Aaron Ekblad. Lower body and is being held out. They hope to get him back in the last game of this road trip in Calgary in a couple of nights. And then, of course, Sergei Bobrovsky getting the start in goal for the Florida Panthers. The Oilers, meanwhile, not expecting really any changes from them. That means, in terms of lineup, that line of McDavid with Hyman and Nugent-Hopkins stays together. Draisaitl between Fogle and Janmark. And then McLeod with Kane and Brown. Hamblin with Gagne and Ryan on defense. Nurse with Ceci. Ekholm with Bouchard. Kulak with Desharnais. And then you got Calvin Pickard making another start for the Oilers after a great one last week on Sunday against the New Jersey Devils. Pickard looking to keep the good times going, and sounds like he will start probably again on Thursday in New Jersey, once again against that very same Devils club that he got the 4-1 victory over. I saw some text that I want to get to. This one says 19-3 last year, but you are anti-Ranta, and then adds Kane, Leon, and Fogle. Go heavy. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. The Kane, Leon, Fogle. Just wondering where Kane's at health-wise, but yeah, that's a heavy line, and I don't mind it at all. And anti-Ranta, in terms of me being anti-Ranta, I'm more hesitant Ranta than anti-Ranta. And as Jocelyn said, as we discussed, as Cass said, he's hurt a lot and has been hurt this year as well. 780-218-9999. We're getting ready for the Oilers and the Panthers, one of 13 games on the schedule. Also wanted to say something about Paul Maurice making that comment about the media and causing the stir and all of that when the things around here were going really bad. That's the second straight Florida head coach that has made a comment similar to that. John Cooper did it the other day. But listen, the Oilers were 2-9-1, Trev. Who isn't going to be like, what the hell is going on? What is wrong with this team? They were messed up. They were 2-9-1, and they lost to San Jose in San Jose, a team that could barely score 2 goals a game. They lost 3-2. Like, it was so bad. So bad. And so John Cooper and then now Paul Maurice getting their shots in with our media. Yes, we're not perfect. We're not perfect. There's a lot of controversy sometimes, but they were 2-9-1, Trev.
Yeah, it's I don't know. What are you guys supposed to talk about? Obviously, the Oilers were not doing good. What are you going to say?
Crap.
What are you going to say? Oh, the Oilers are doing great today. No, obviously you're going to talk. So I don't know. They don't really get the media down south like we do, and here in Edmonton, right? So maybe that has a lot to do. But Paul Maurice, he knows. He was the head coach for Winnipeg for all that time there. But
Toronto as well, Carolina.
Yeah, no, true pro. I love I love listening to him. He brings some humor. Just a beauty.
Yeah. Bison Mask guy getting in there says the only thing that needs to change is that Cardinals helmet. Absolutely not, Bison Mask guy. I am a Cardinals fan through and through, and that Cardinals helmet shall stay. The team sucks though, and they will probably lose this weekend. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I'll watch it with glee until I get frustrated about 5 minutes in, and then I'll be steaming the rest of the game. That's how we watch Cardinals games now. But the big one tonight is the Oilers and the Florida Panthers, one of 13 games on the schedule. Let's take a look around at what has transpired in the National Hockey League. A bunch of games in the books and continuing to wrap up. A few still underway and some just getting underway shortly. Minnesota defeats Vancouver 2-1 in a shootout this afternoon at XL Energy Center. The New Jersey Devils, on the back of a Jack Hughes hat trick, defeat the Columbus Blue Jackets 6-3. The Islanders make a go of it in the third period. They were down a bunch, but they ended up storming back a bit. They fall short 5-3 to the Montreal Canadiens. 1-0 final in Philly over the Detroit Red Wings, and then the Maple Leafs absolutely pummel the Pittsburgh Penguins 7-0. That one in Toronto. Winnipeg 6-2 over Colorado in Winnipeg. After 2, Washington trails Nashville 2-1. After 2 as well in St. Louis, the Blues lead the Stars 3-2. Arizona and Buffalo, no score after 1. Tampa Bay and Calgary set to get underway in Cowtown at the Saddle Dome. Victor Hedman looks like he is good to go for the Lightning. Gabby Shirley tweeting out a video of him hitting the ice for warm-up earlier. Gabby, excellent guest on the pregame show on Thursday. Edmonton and Florida getting set to get underway, as are Seattle and the LA Kings. Let's get to some text to wrap things up. 780-218-9999 if you want to slide them in. Or let's just go to the nasty chat really quickly. Dane McAllister says, Paul Maurice is a great coach. Yes, I agree with him. Funny guy, smart guy. Absolutely. Jason and Leduc said, Tommy had the Italian hands going. What's the matter for you? Yes. D-Man says, Jake Plummer. Do you mean Carson Palmer? He was great for the Cardinals. He really was. They had a couple of playoff years under him. And then Jason and Leduc also added, Ranta has a 3.61 goals against average and .854 save percentage this year. Why him? He's declining and expensive. 1.5 million and always hurt. Always hurt for sure. All right, Trev, any final thoughts going into this one from you?
Yeah, it should be a good game. You guys pretty well covered everything. As long as the Oilers start like they did against Tampa, they should be good. If they play like how they did against Tampa, they really should win. I can't imagine Sergei Bobrovsky is going to goalie you. But they're a deep team, and you can't forget about Nico Mikkola, obviously the goal scorer, 2 goals last outing against the
first time in his career.
Yeah, what the heck? Goals. Yeah, no,
he's playing his 200th game tonight, by the way.
Yeah, oh, look at that. Yeah, so no, it'll be a good game. When they played them earlier in the season, the Oilers, they started strong, came out 2-0, and I remember you were like, oh well, they were also up against Tampa, and next thing you know, they caught up, right? So this is a different team. Start strong, hold the lead, and you should be good. So the team, it's going to be. I'm really also liking the fourth line with Hamlin, Derek Ryan, and Gagne. They brought a lot, so. Just rolling 4 lines has been something they've been able to do a lot lately, and it's been nice to see whether they've been contributing offensively, maybe not, but good zone possession for a lot of the lines. So, yeah, it should be a good game. Those are my final thoughts, Tommy.
Well said, young man. Well said. Edmonton, all-time versus Florida, 23-15 and 0 with 3 ties against the Panthers. And the Oilers looking for their first win against the Atlantic Division, 0-3 so far. Panthers, 5-4 versus the Pacific. Florida is 16 for 91 on the power play, 17.6%. That's 20th in the NHL. The PK, pretty darn good compared to the Oilers, 81.1%, good for 11th. With 3 shorties, although Edmonton's penalty kill has gotten much better and has climbed up the standings in the NHL. It's now 17th. It was 15th going into that game against Tampa, but now 79.8% with 4 shorties. They got the shorty from Darnell Nurse the other night. PK doing a lot of good stuff, and the power play is up to 29%, which is still 4th in the National Hockey League with a 27 for 93 clip. All right, that is going to do it for the Oil Stream pregame show. Huge thank you, as always, to everyone who tuned in, whether you listened on the TuneIn app or if you just listened to the audio stream via our website. Appreciate you as always. And if you watched us on the EST YouTube channel, thank you. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Smash it, please, and thank you. We appreciate that. And we will be back for the Oil Stream post-game show for YouTube. Trev and Matt Kassian. I'm Tom Gazzola saying enjoy the game. Ciao for now.